Welcome to ISL enabled virtual lab of CSIR.
Exothermic and endothermic reactions. In this activity, we are going to understand what kinds of reaction different salts show in aqueous solution. Materials needed: calcium chloride, ammonium chloride, distilled water, 2 beakers, thermometer, and a stirring rod. Procedure: prepare 2 beakers and label them as beaker A and beaker B. Then fill 50 ml of distilled water in beaker A followed by beaker B. Next, measure the initial temperature of beaker A. Afterwards, add about 5 to 6 gram of ammonium chloride salt to beaker A and observe the temperature change. Observation: at first, the water in beaker A is at room temperature, which is 27 degrees Celsius. After adding the salt ammonium chloride, the temperature of the solution decreases to 23 degrees Celsius, indicating that the reaction absorbs heat, which is referred to as an endothermic reaction. Endothermic process. An endothermic process is one where energy is absorbed from the surroundings. The absorption usually occurs in the form of heat, and as a result, the temperature of the surrounding environment or solution decreases. Ion dipole interaction. When ammonium chloride dissolves in water, it dissociates into ammonium ion and chloride ions. Again, energy is required to break the ionic bond in the salt. But when the water molecules interact with these ions, they absorb energy from the surrounding in order to stabilize the ions. Energy balance. In this case, the energy required to break the ionic bond in ammonium chloride is greater than the energy released during the hydration of ions. Therefore, the system must absorb heat from the surroundings to compensate for the energy deficit, and the reaction is NH4Cl in presence of water gives rise to NH4 plus Cl minus. Next, add about 5 to 6 grams of calcium chloride salt to beaker B and observe the temperature change. Observation: at first, the water in beaker B is at room temperature, which is 27 degrees Celsius. After adding the salt calcium chloride, the temperature of the solution increases to 36.5 degrees Celsius, indicating that the reaction releases heat, which is referred to as an exothermic reaction. An exothermic process is one where energy is released to the surroundings, usually in the form of heat. When a substance dissolves in water and releases heat, the temperature of the surrounding environment or solution increases. Ion dipole interaction. When calcium chloride is added to water, it dissociates into calcium ion and chloride ion. The dissociation requires energy to break the ionic bond in the solid salt, but more energy is released when the water molecules surround and interact with the ions, called the hydration energy. Energy balance. The total energy released by hydration of the ions exceeds the energy required to break the bonds in the solid salt. This net release of the energy is why the process is exothermic, and the reaction is calcium chloride in presence of water gives rise to calcium 2 plus 2 Cl minus, Ca2 plus 2 Cl minus. Conclusion: this experiment demonstrates the exothermic and endothermic reactions of different salts in aqueous solution.